I, 28 female, had given my heart to my boyfriend, 34 male, on a silver platter, but he broke it into pieces. I had asked him to marry me, but he insisted that I undergo rehabilitation first because he didn't want to marry a mentally unstable person. It hurt to have heard the person I loved insinuate that I was crazy, but it made me realize he would never reciprocate the love I had for him. But I couldn't leave because I was broke. I had nowhere to go and I just had a baby with him. When I fully recovered, I resumed waiting tables at the small coffee shop where I earned measly wages. They allowed me to come to work with my baby. It was there I met Mark. 32, male, tall, unbelievably handsome and rich. He had just relocated to the city and was getting acquainted with the environment. He told me he admired me and would love to know me better. I gave him my phone number before I returned to work. For Mark, it was love at first sight, but for me, he was my ticket to leaving the hellhole of a house that I shared with my boyfriend. Despite knowing that I was a single mother, Mark remained head over heels in love with me. He lavished me with gifts and never hesitated to provide whatever I demanded. He began to finance me and my baby, so I stopped working. But every morning, I would leave the house and only come back in the evening to keep up the charade of working so that my boyfriend would not get suspicious. I never brought my new flashy dresses, pieces of jewelry, and accessories home. Rather, I kept them in Mark's house. Meanwhile, my boyfriend continued to pester me about going into rehab with claims that it was for our betterment, that he wanted us to officially become a family, but he couldn't do that if I remained the way that I was. But I was fine. Yes, I took tiny bits of hard drugs now and then, but that was all they were, tiny bits that never caused any harm. Besides, marriage was for better or worse, so if he couldn't accept me the way I was, I had no business tying the knot with him. I continued my secret affair with Mark, and it was so fun to watch him think he was truly my boyfriend. Thanks to the luxury he provided me with, I was able to attract another guy, 35 male, who believed my tale of being a lonely single mother. Stringing along 3 guys was quite difficult, but it got easier with time. Good thing my boyfriend never took me out, so I never had to turn him down with a lie. I found a way to handle Mark's obscene date plans. Meanwhile, I had foregone my plans to leave and instead chose to stay back and enjoy the love my men were showering on me. One evening, I decided to spend time with my third man. We were having dinner at a low-key restaurant when Mark walked in. It was a small restaurant, so he sighted me immediately. He looked from my date to me and then away. I was scared to my bones and began to concoct a reasonable lie to tell him. I knew I would lose my date no matter what I said, but he was a lesser loss compared to Mark. He walked down to our table and ordered me to get up. My third guy immediately intervened despite my silent pleas for him to stay out of it. He asked Mike who he was and why he talked to me like that, and Mike haughtily introduced himself as my boyfriend. There was a loud argument between the 2 guys as they claimed to be my boyfriend. I was so ashamed that I had to sneak out while they weren't looking. Although that night the other guy blew up my phone with messages, he called me all sorts of names and threatened to deal with me, but I knew he couldn't do anything. The next day I went to Mark's place. He refused to talk to me, so I went on my knees, crying and begging him to forgive me. My baby got upset and started crying too. He was fond of my baby, so he had to break the silent treatment. He forgave me and agreed to let go of the issue. I was really happy, so I gave him a treat by sleeping over. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of Mark saying, "Surprise, surprise." I was shocked to find my boyfriend carrying my baby and Mark giving me a sinister smile. I didn't know when I started crying. How could he betray me like that? I called him a simp and a loser for going back on his words. All this time, my boyfriend kept all his attention on my baby. I didn't understand what was going on, but Mark took it upon himself to explain. He said that one of his friends who witnessed the ordeal at the restaurant ran a quick check on me, and that was how he discovered that I was dating my baby's daddy, who was not a deadbeat dad, contrary to what I told him. Everything happened like a dream. One minute my boyfriend was telling me he loved me, and he wished I would get better. It sounded like a farewell speech, and I was just about to ask him if it was one, when the uninformed men walked in. I knew who they were, and why they were here. My boyfriend had finally reported me to the authority for drug addiction, and they were here to take me to a rehabilitation center. No, I refused to believe it. I was okay. I didn't need any crazy help or whatever they offered there, and I tried to get my boyfriend to see it that way, but he just told me to kiss my baby goodbye because it might be a while before I get to see him again. That was 6 months, and I was just released from rehab a week ago. The first thing I did was going to Mark's place, but he turned me down, saying he has a new woman in his life and I should just disappear. It was really hurtful and demeaning. I reminded him how he had promised to build a future with me, but he retorted that was before he knew I had a baby daddy and shut the door in my face. I next went to find my boyfriend to see my child, but he didn't want to let me see my child without a proper custody order in place, and he said that we're done for good. I was shocked because I hadn't expected that much animosity from him, and asked him, now that I had completed rehab, what's stopping him from marrying me. But he just laughed at me, calling me delusional. I feel so lost right now, and I don't know what to do. Would someone tell me how to get my life in order again? I only need my child and my boyfriend in my life. I want us to be a real family again. Story 2. I don't even know why I did this. I love my husband. He is a wonderful man. He is attentive, caring, and a good provider. I posted an ad on CL for a hookup and got a huge amount of responses. Found someone I found physically attractive. He came to my house. We had sex. He left. I don't even know if he told me his real name. He used a condom that I provided so I would know it wasn't messed with. I'm so effed up. I know I am. The thing is, I don't feel anything about it. It's like it didn't even happen. Like I was looking in as a third party even though it was me on my back. I did something that could screw up my whole life for an hour of pleasure. It wasn't even that pleasurable. It was stupid, immoral, and wrong. I know I should hate myself, but I don't. I guess when it comes back to bite me in the ass, I might hate myself then. Actually, writing this has made me feel like the piece of shiz I am. I don't deserve my husband. Edit. I don't plan to tell my husband. It would devastate him, and the only thing to gain by telling him is relief of a guilty mind, and I don't deserve that. I deserve to live with the guilt. Yes, the person from CL knows where I live. He actually texted me about an hour ago and asked if I wanted to meet up again this weekend. I told him no. He asked why and explained that it wasn't anything that he did or didn't do, but that I felt horrible about cheating on my husband. He said he understood and thanked me for the nice day and said he wouldn't contact me again if I didn't want him to. I know I have problems. I've always known that. I never thought I'd do something this stupid, though. It was like a snowball rolling down a hill getting bigger and bigger. I could have not posted the ad. I could have not looked at the emails. I could have not responded. I could have stopped at any point, but I didn't. I tried to justify it to myself at one point by saying I did it because I've only ever been with my husband. I was a virgin when we got married and was curious as to what other men could offer. You're right. I do need to get some help. Edit 2. I appreciate the diversity of opinions in the comments. Yes, I will get tested. I will be seeking some kind of mental health therapy and ask their professional advice about if telling him or not would be the best decision. I will not be contacting this person or any other person again. There were some hurtful comments made and I completely understand why they were said. Everyone is entitled to their own thoughts and opinions. Comments. You acted selfishly and now, understandably, feel horrible for doing so. Based on your post and responses, I can only say that the best way to improve the situation is to stop acting selfishly. Obsessing over your wrongdoing on your own is selfish. Deciding what is best for your marriage on your own is selfish. Punishing yourself for what you deserve is selfish. Keeping this from your husband to spare him pain, strangely enough, is selfish. The problem stems from the fact that you made a selfish decision, as is your right, that cannot be reconciled with the consideration and discussion required of a relationship. If you want to help yourself, your husband, and your relationship, stop making selfish decisions. Probably not the best place to hear advice from. People say to come out with it. I say do what you feel is better. It's better to think about why you did, even if you say you don't know why. Did you feel unhappy with your relationship? There must be something that you're unhappy with if you did this. Now, it does not matter what you did was right or wrong. That's the past. Better to think now what you are going to do. On the big picture, there are two ways this can go. You confess to your husband, or you don't. This is a decision that you must make.